All right. So, what's new in academia? We have some new features. We had an update over the weekend, and we had put out a survey a little bit ago, kind of asking for feedback, what you guys want to see, and then just taking those and applying. So, we heard you guys and we listened and we made these changes. So, we have some new updates to our daily viewer. It's redesigned. We have student tutor badges. We also have a new notifications panel as well as an updated email template page. All right, so these were some of the survey quotes that we received, and we made these changes to the daily viewer. So we have things such as um, pop-ups that would show up that people wanted the option to not have those, or the coloring was too harsh. There was like really bright red and green, and we've kind of muted that down. We've also changed how much of the time that you can see. So now you can see a broader variety of the day. And yeah, we've also just given you more customizations of things that you do and do not want to see. We had some people talk about the grid being wider, and then we've condensed that. So we're going to go ahead and show you that a little bit later. But first, I am going to get into our new notifications page, as well as our student staff badges. All right, so with our notifications page, we now have one page that handles all notifications. This is going to show templates by appointment, events, media, resources, support, and a few other things. You can also edit these templates from the same page, so it's all in one. This will be in the control panel under campus settings, so that's going to be one whole page now for that. We have also now introduced two different delivery methods, such as SMS and push notifications. So this is really useful because if before you were sending these notifications through email or the in web notifications, students might not have seen it. So if it's something like, oh, you have your appointment today, or the appointment got canceled, those are things that you would want the students to see. So that maybe they have like a better turnout rate so they show up for their appointment so they remember, or so they know not to show up for their appointment if it got canceled. And just having those live updates, I think, is really going to help streamline the communication, as well as like just having people turn out into the center more. Push notifications, this would show on their lock screen. It would show up as a little pop-up bubble on their home screen. And then with the SMS, they would get a text message that would notify them, and these are also customizable, so you can have them say what you want for the students to receive that. All right, so creating your notification template, I will go in to the software to show you how this looks, but you would first select the notification template. So like I said, this is going to be separated by events, media, resources, support, appointment details, etc. Once you select that notification type, you're going to then select the delivery method. And what I think is cool is you can select one or multiple or none for that. But I think it's nice that if you wanted to have all four delivery methods, you have that option. Or if you wanted two out of the four, you can also do that, fully customizable. And after you've done that, then you can go in and edit those templates. So I'll go ahead and pull that up for you. So this is our new notifications page. And like I said, this should be under administration, control panel, and then it's going to be at the bottom right here. So this has all of those templates that I mentioned earlier, right? And if we go here to edit, this is where we can edit those templates, and you can just select whichever one you'd like. You can select if you want SMS, email, and push, and I'll just let you see what that looks like. So for example, this is the SMS notification setup, really short message, but you can have it say something like, hi, your appointment is at this center at this time and it has been canceled. And you can customize that per those templates. So I think that this is going to be a really cool feature that you can utilize for your center to just like have better communication with your staff and students. Now, next we have our student staff badges and how we can utilize this. So with your staff, you can have the badges just to have an easier identification for them, because typically if you have a tutor that is also a student, they might look very similar to the students. It might be hard to differentiate. So maybe even just having that name tag that says tutor, I think will help for the students to find them a little bit easier. I think that is also interesting that we now added that you can put a subject or a specialty. So if you have a tutor that handles calculus or English, you can specify that. But I think also it's cool that you can put their specialties if they had like Spanish speaking or ESL, or if they are certified in something. Just getting more specific so that those students can match with the tutors better, and there may be a better communication between the two as well. You can use this if you have events. So students could use their QR code on their badges to scan in and out of the Acu kiosk, as well as signing in and out of their appointment at the kiosk. These can be emailed and printed as well to your staff, to students, and I think it's also cool that you can have it for temporary purposes too. So if you had proctors for an exam that were walking around checking the students, you can give them a badge. If you had volunteers, guests, visitors, front desk staff, advisors, you can utilize this however you want, and it is completely customizable. So I'll go ahead and get into that a little more. All right, so this is our built-in system for our badges. We have a few that you can choose from, templates, actually quite a few you can choose from, but you can also create it from scratch, fully customize this. But this can be printed and emailed in large batches, so you can send it once and not have to worry about it again, or print them once and not have to worry about it again. But I'll get into that as well. On these badges is where you can also add those QR codes, which I'll show you. Yeah, so these templates are going to be able to handle QR codes, user information such as their name, specialty, what college they're at, center, as well as if they had, yeah, a subject that they could handle, or if they're a visitor, etc. You can really customize this to how you would like. So let me go ahead and show you what this looks like. All right, so this would be under administration, user management, and then badges. So I'll go ahead and show you one that I had set up earlier. So this is an example of our badges that we've created, and this would be for a tutor. We have the option right here to pick a built-in badge design. From here, we have 54 that you can choose from. So we have like testing proctor, administrator, guest visitor, workshop attendee, librarian, peer mentor, visitor. This is going to cover pretty much any role. If there's a role on here that you don't see and that you want to add, you can completely customize that, and you can actually change the built-in design and kind of alter it, move things around how you would like. And this is going to be the QR code that I mentioned that will allow the students to sign in and out, or if there's an event, as well as tutors if they wanted to sign in and out. So yeah, so once you've created your badge, and I'll show you this. There's also just like a couple other things on the side you can customize, like the image and text, and then like the size and orientation as well. So you can like change if you want it to be bigger, smaller. I think that's really neat. So once you've created your badge, you're going to have the option to print or email these. You can find that option up here in this upper right corner, or you can click on the badge and click print email, and it is also on the same line as the badge. So when you go to print your badges, you're going to go ahead and select your badge. You're going to select if you want students or staff. And then you can pick if they're associated to a certain subject area, or if you have a group that's already created. So for example, if I had a at-risk group I wanted to create badges for, I could do that. You would click generate. And then once those are downloaded, they're going to look like this. And something I also wanted to mention is we have the Avery templates, and if you've ever used those before, there's just certain paper that you can buy on your own. And like, for example, this pack comes with 400 inserts, but there's the cardstock thicker ones, and then you can laminate those. But I just wanted to show that as an option if you use that as a template. All right, and then once you've printed your badges, you also have the option to email them, and that's going to be the same thing where you're going to select your badge, you're going to select the role that you want to send them to, students or staff, and then you're going to formulate the email if you would like, but this is already pre-made, so it's just going to say that here's your badge, and you can download it, which is going to be a good option if you don't want to have to reprint it. So if they lose their badge, this gives them the option to print it on their own if that's something that you would like. Oh, additionally, you can also send these as specific badges. So if you had a couple people you wanted to send these badges to specifically, you could select a couple of those people and only send it to those that you selected. All right. Now I'm going to hand this over to Nick. Thank you guys.
Awesome. Yeah, I like those updates. I was following right along. So the daily viewer, we got a redesign for that, and I'm also going to be going over our improved new email campaigns. So we can basically take a look at this as some of the things that Rose had already mentioned that we kind of made more subtle colors. We've also made improvements to the list of tutors so you can see more of the information in the time blocks as well as some other customization options that you get to literally pick what you want to use on that screen. So let's go ahead and look at that. So this is a preview of it. We'll go in the system and take a look at it. As you can see, those colors have improved. We also added something that we didn't have before, which is some nice statistics blocks up here. So you can kind of see, how many in-person appointments versus online, how much of the tutors' schedules are being utilized as a whole up here. So these are all data points that maybe we didn't have there before, or maybe, had to be pulled from a report and things like that. Also, because we've tried to minimize the size of the boxes, you can get almost the full day, if not, the full day of your tutor schedules in that one screen without having to side scroll. If you have a lot of tutors, you might have to scroll, but it's a little less, now. And this should just help with overall efficiency when you're going and trying to make sure everybody's scheduled and you have all your, courses covered and everything like that. You do have the ability to hide some of these options as well. So if you don't like the new stuff, or some of the buttons there, you can hide those as well, and we'll see that in the system. Awesome. And this is just kind of some screens showing how you can actually, there'll be a gear icon now, and how you can configure all those different options that I was mentioning. This is just a preview. We'll see it live though here in a second. So let's go ahead and do that without further ado. So how I'm going to get to this is we're going to go to centers, we're going to go to appointments, and then the daily viewer should have that nice new icon next to it. Okay, and I just have to pick a date and the center at least. Everything else is optional, but you can kind of fine tune it for if you're looking for a certain service or staff, or even a course that you wanted to check that out for. So I'm going to leave mine wide open, and I left it with the default settings for now. So for these, you can see all the available in green, everything that's been blocked off in red. If they have an appointment, it's in, uh, whether it's an in-person, it's going to be in this orangish color. If it's online, it's going to be a purpley color. And we do have the, key up there, or legend. And when I click on it, I get to see all the details. So if this had multiple folks, I could scroll through the list and see that and click on it again to make that go away. Also, if I'm not sure what block that is, I can click on these, the ones that are available, to see exactly what that is. And you can also change this from a click event to where it's, hover or whatever. And where we control all of these things are going to be right up here. So on the same screen, I can change these to on hover instead of make them clickable. I could disable them if I didn't like those things. These new statistics and like advanced view buttons, I can hide those if I'd like. And you can kind of see it in real time. It's just getting rid of those things. Uh, Now, I think I have to have the advanced options enabled here, but this can hide some of the like by day options. It's actually, it was behind this screen, so you might not have saw it, but basically I get to pick and choose what I want and how those are working. So now I've changed it to hover, so all I do is move around and I get those different views. I can then change the date and apply this again however I want. And once that loads, I've got like a different day with different set of tutors, and you can see I'm seeing all the way from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. here. So this is a pretty wide expanse in the default view, and it just should be a lot cleaner for everybody, hopefully. So, all right, and let's go ahead and take a look at that next feature. So basically, we didn't really change anything with how email campaigns go out and everything. But the process has been streamlined and redesigned for a modern, cleaner look and appearance as you're going through the process. So you still do the normal things like you would name your campaign. Maybe it's a promo that you're doing and you'd like to let folks know about it. Uh, you choose your recipients, whether they're enrolled in a certain course. Maybe they're part of a group that you're working with, so you can pick and choose like who that goes out to. You would design your email content the same. You can choose from a template that you've already created or create it on the fly and give it a name. So all of that stuff is all the same. We really didn't do anything drastically different, but instead of having it on multiple pages, we actually have this where it's done on one page with just these steps shown. And then the final part of the process is to choose whether to schedule it or send that out now. And all of this is basically for better usability and a more intuitive process there. And basically creating like less hangups like when you're going through that process. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you this now in the software. So to get to this one as well, we're going to go to centers, and the very second one down has the little email campaigns. And in here you can see I've got a few that I've already kind of played around with and created. And so the big change is really this screen looks the same, but we're going to go through that new email campaign. And I'm going to just say summer program, maybe 2026, yeah, learn how to type here. And then maybe there's a group that I'm working with. So I can go ahead and say maybe Nick's two T's or whatever. So I want to let them know about a program that we're doing, and hopefully you'd have more than the four, but I'm just a test account here. But you can preview who those folks are by showing the list. And all of this, like I said, used to be on different screens, and it kind of got confusing. Here I can go ahead and just start creating my content. I can even use AI Assistant to kind of help me write it if I need. But we can also choose from templates that are either ones we provide or custom ones that you've created. So, maybe something like this one. I like that template. And basically from here, it's just going to put it in here. Before, I think once you put the template in there, it would just go with whatever that template was. You couldn't make any changes once it was embedded in there. So this is already, a nice improvement where I can have something that starts off with maybe something that I do need to change before I send it out, but I could have like that real template effect on it. And of course, we can still use merge field, so you can see it says like, hi, first name, you came in for tutoring for this course. We want to let you know we're offering these kind of workshops. And then the last step is really, do I want to send it now? Do I want to schedule it for a later time? Or do I want to save without sending? And in my case, maybe I'm still working out the details of these workshops, and maybe I want to provide a little bit more information even. So I'm going to go ahead and save that without sending. But we do have all of those options. This would just pull up a calendar for you to choose from, and this would just send it right away. Okay, and when I'm done, just make sure to go back up to the top and save changes, and it should be there. Yeah. So yeah, this one I didn't pick the center, so it went to the college level. You have to be careful with that when you're doing it. So all right, but I think that's my two items, and we can open this up for some questions. I seen we had some coming in the chat. I'll pass that back to Rachel.
Yeah, please feel free to put questions in the chat if you have any that you'd like us to answer. We'll get to the first couple ones we have here first. Let me just move this window so I'm actually looking at you all. The Daily Viewer, someone asked if it differentiates between the online and in-person modalities.
Yes, that's
Yes,
actually
that's
something
correct.
that's something new that we've added. It differentiates between if it's virtual or in person. So that was like one of the ones on the Daily Viewer. It'll be orange if it's in person and purple if it's virtual, and you can disable that or enable that, but that was one of our feedbacks that we got.
Awesome. Awesome. And then I had somebody ask the easiest way to see a student's assessments in academia. Nick, do you have an account handy with actual data in it? Because mine doesn't have a lot, my sandbox doesn't have a lot of data in it. But I'd love to show them like how to get to a student's session logs from the engagement tracker. Because I think that would
Right.
be a really good way to do it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can start there.
'Cause there's
You can go to
reports, there's, yeah,
you can go direct here under
from
center
session
session
logs.
log.
Hmm.
But I like what you were saying. So under campus, we have a relatively new feature. I think came out a month or two ago. Student engagement
Mm-mm.
tracker, maybe even longer. You know, time flies when you're having fun, right? So, uh, but the cool thing is, you know, I can search for my user by ID, first or last name, and let's say, you know, Mesha here. I know I use her for tests because she's first in the list. So you can see all the data
Guilty of
points
that too.
around this user. So we have all their recent visits, any appointments that they have coming up, what they're enrolled in currently, just anything and everything that I would want to know about this user, if they've registered to workshops that we're holding, so just a ton of information here. And because we have this visit data, if I wanted to, I could go ahead and just from here click view all. And that's going to also take me to essentially that center's session log section. And then I would just want to run it for whatever time period I wanted to look at. So if I was looking, you know, maybe back at the previous semester, we can see all these logs. And then also if there was session assessment completed, we could see exactly, you know, how they answered that. Now
Hmm.
this one didn't have it completed, but you know, and a lot of these are text-based responses. I think I was testing something here.
We're testing things out. This is do as I say, not as I do type situation.
Right, right. But yeah, normally I'd want more of those like things that you can get data points because if you have a multiple choice options, like you could always have. I saw a lot of people when they use assessment, it's like multiple choice, then maybe a text, so that way they could explain it a little
Hmm.
bit, maybe, and
Expand
then
on it.
they could even add to those multiple choice options that they have later. So yeah, I think those are really cool because you get to see the tutors' input and like one of the other folks that we had on the line, you know, even kind of cover the the tutors a little bit because you know maybe they gave them a bad survey, but you know, it could have just been, you know, they weren't prepared or, you know, they were just not really engaged in that session or whatever, you know. I don't
Hmm.
know.
So, and there are reports that can be sorted if you wanna go that route. But if you're just looking for a quick way to see it in the browser, this I think is a good way to do that because it also takes you through the student's entire engagement like history. Another question we have is how can I make sure a virtual appointment shows as virtual on the daily viewer? Do the students need to enter something specific?
Yeah, so it's all about the modality of the service that was selected. So this is why we usually try to have you make those like separate. So like usually my online services will be separate from my in-person, and there's a lot of reasons why we do this because email template wise and for other various reasons, like it just makes sense. And the student doesn't necessarily when they're scheduling or seeing it in the system, they don't necessarily see it unless you put in the name of it like, oh, this is virtual or this is in person, but you know you can see it on the back end. But yeah, if you do that, if you make them separate like that, then it's going to show up. And the other thing is too, I think you know in the future there might be more integration with the modalities because it's not exactly a new thing. Like we've had it in there for a while, but we're just trying to get that more integrated to other sections. So I would definitely take advantage of that, use those, especially if you offer it both ways, you know. So.
Hmm. And our next question is, how do I update a user's specialty on their tutor badge? This person's mentioning that they haven't seen that data point before, and it is new. That's keen eye. So they want to know how to update the specialty.
I mean, I can show,
Okay.
I think if you want to explain, I think it's under
Yeah.
users now, right?
Yeah. Click on the user and then in their student profile, their public profile. And then it was right there, I think, at
Oh, I
name
see it.
badge, and then it said specialties.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we can have all those listed out.
Yeah.
And then like whatever you basically type in there, that's something that could be part of that badge now. And you could
Yeah.
make like a special graphic that, encapsulates all those specialties or whatever.
You don't have
Yeah, I
to
have,
use it. It's for your, convenience because we when we were
right.
building the badge templates, we realized like some folks might, you don't have room for all the subjects a tutor works with, and you might want to just leave it blank, or you might want to say math tutor or English tutor, whatever is most appropriate to help identify that tutor really quickly in a way that makes sense for the badge.
Yeah. And I think once you build out those badges, like you can have those on there. I did some where it was like, I put it just explicitly in the graphics, but if you want it to be custom, like have a single badge for all tutors, that's where those specialties will help because it'll put in, whatever specialty they had. You could have it anywhere on the badge. Like I could put it right, underneath this little icon or something.
Yeah.
And this could be even like their photo instead of like a graphic or whatever.
Yeah.
So you really can do anything with that. So,
And we have someone asking just to briefly explain what a push notification is.
A push
so
notification is just a notification that gets pushed to your phone. So that's going to be the notifications that pop up on your home screen or your lock screen, and they're, live updates. So if you get
Yeah.
a push notification from the Accudemia app that's saying, oh, your appointment is today at this time with this tutor, it's going to show up right there on their screen if they have the Accudemia app and their notifications enabled.
Yep.
right.
All
Yeah,
right.
it's just a one-way kind of thing too. So like you could just push it out to them. That's why it's the push and
Yeah.
not like a two-way.
So
Yep.
if you ever wondered what those things are called on your phone, those are called push notifications. Some people don't know that.
True.
Yeah.
Um, so thank you. I think that's all the questions that we have, and I know we're a little bit over, so I guess we'll go ahead and close it out. Thank you everybody for
Thank you
joining us today.
guys.
And we
Thanks
hope to
all.
see you next month at the Academia monthly session. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.